What is up, guys? Back at it again, this time coming at you for another video on Sif. The last videos I did, I tried uploading it as high as I could. Facebook sort of defaulted it down to 720 and YouTube was at 1080. I've tried changing the settings on my phone to make this a hopefully higher, maybe a 4K. We'll have to see what it gets uploaded as, but hopefully this will allow for you to see a little bit better, a little bit closer, the differences, and hopefully those details are popping just that much more when we have it in this higher resolution filming format. Of course, here is Sif with all the different colors of gray, the base with the front being lighter than the sides, and the different levels of grays in there with the wash of the etching, the engraving, and of course your die cast saws, etc, etc. But also this video is not just about filming it in higher resolution. What I wanted to do is give you a demonstration of lighting and the effect it has on photography and video work, and how it can drastically make differences. So why don't we kick it off by looking at the studio setup. Right now we have the total lights on. We have all the lights on with the fluorescent bulbs and the tubes. We have on the side, we have a yellow spotlight and a white spotlight. Of course, we have one overhead spotlight as well. And on the side, we have another yellow and another white one sort of hanging out over there. Here it is. You see it completely in that setup, and hopefully you like what you see. But again, I wanted to show you what the difference would be once we start changing the lighting effect and how the light effect and light placement makes a difference. So, Chocks, back at it again. Would you do me a favor and please hit those lights? All right. So now,
fluorescent lights.
let's turn it back on, so we can get a. So we're gonna, now that I have it on the actual. Okay, hold on. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so let's focus on Sif. Here it. Let me just.
Just stay still.
Are we gonna stay still? Okay, hit those lights. All right, now we have that kind of more aggressive, more scary looking, because you've got the shadow work coming out a bit more. You can sort of really see with the lights directly above, without the, how shall I say it, the bulbs are now off at the top. You don't have that general lighting. You now have more specific lighting, and how that specific lighting starts creating more shadows. Because if you look at the shadows on the snout that you don't have before when you had the general lighting on, because you have a pinpoint of light above, when it hits the top of Sif, it creates these shadows effects, from his ears being on the top. You can see the top of the ears are brighter than the underneath part, and that's creating this sort of shadow effect on his face, and again, giving it that kind of moody look. Now, of course, when we start looking again at how the lighting affects the base, again, the spotlighting is making those sort of differences, creating those shadows where we are. Now, of course, as we said, Chocks, we had it on the right, we have two spotlights. We've got the white and the yellow, and on the other side as well. Why don't we just start hitting off those lights and see how the camera picks that up.
All right, I'm turning the yellow off.
Yep, the yellow's off.
And then turning the white off.
Okay.
The right side of Sif.
The right side, let's see. Okay, I got that done. Jeffrey, on the other side, let's try and get that doing that.
Okay, turn off the yellow one.
Yep.
And then the white one.
Okay, now what we have is a single spotlight above. We haven't touched that one. And of course, now we can really start seeing some, when you start turning it, the sort of darkening and the areas from the lighting having this sort of cast of, how should I say, having that effect where, the same item, no change, no difference, has drastically changed in terms of shadows and depth of color paints, specifically based on how the color setup has done. And you can now see this is the sort of shadows that we're talking about, how the overhanging rocks are creating shadow effects because the light source is directly from the top. Now, if you look at the the prototype pictures, you'll see a lot of the photography has that kind of effect, the sort of single spotlights or, variously placed spotlights that basically means that it creates these lovely shadow effects. And of course, if you view it when all the lights are on, you don't get that shadow effect like you get with regards to the single spotlight. So when you, as I said, when you have the fluorescent lighting on the top totally on, the overall effect looks like a little bit more washed out. You don't have that dynamic range of shadows and what have you. So it really can drastically make a difference to the way a certain piece will look. All right, guys. Chocs, Jeffrey, would you do me the honors of please turning it all back on? We'll watch it in real time to see the effect it has on Sif. Here we go, guys. There you go, the whites and the yellows. The whites and the yellows on the other side. There you go. And the overall light one more time, turning on the fluorescent bulb. And there you go, guys. Everything now back as it was at the very beginning of the video. Hopefully you can now better see how, like, there is no more shadows here, no more depth of color range within the I should say the contrast within the shadows, because you don't have that single spotlight directly on top of it, of course. And yeah, that is what I wanted to highlight in this video. Hopefully it is done in higher resolution, so when you see this video, you get a better idea of what the final piece will look like when and if you receive him. F for his love, F for his life, and I will catch you on the next one.